आप चाहो तो फोन ले जाओ, अगर आप हॉल में हो ना।
हॉल में उधर उधर रहूंगा। I don't know this work. जरूरत नहीं कोई।
अभिनव प्रभु धन्यवाद प्रणाम, सारे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
प्रवीणा माता जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम, सारे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
प्रवीणा माता जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम, सारे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभुपाद।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम माता, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Who said? Yatin
हरे
Prabhu.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, yes, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Dhन्यवाद प्रणाम। Prabhu ji, how is your health?
Yes, recovering a bit.
Okay, we will talk sometime today, hopefully.
Sure, प्रभु जी।
Okay, so I have a question for devotees. Has anybody heard about us starting Bhakti Shastri? No one has heard.
Prabhuji, once you had mentioned that Bhakti Shastri, like it comprises of 3 courses, like Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, and one more, I forgot.
4. There is Bhagavad Gita and there is Ishopanishad.
Ishopanishad. Okay.
Yes. So something short, because I want to know the devotees' interest. So Bhakti Shastri is, yes, these 4 courses. There are exams in Bhagavad Gita, NOI, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, and Ishopanishad. Now, this course is best if it is done as soon as possible. This course is mandatory for Brahman initiation. It is a course that helps us in sharing Krishna consciousness with others. If you have a desire, this course will give you a great boost. GBC mandatory, or basically ISKCON mandatory for Brahman initiation. For first initiation, the only course required is disciple course. But for the second initiation, this Bhakti Shastri requires some seriousness, because exams are there, so we have to study. We have already covered Bhagavad Gita, we have covered Nectar of Instruction, we are on Nectar of Devotion, and then the last book that will remain is Ishopanishad. Apart from us, there are some more devotees who have covered these books also, and it's just they want to finish the course. Usually devotees, if they want to do the course at some point of time in future, it's usually a 2 years course. So if I personally finished this course before my first initiation, just makes life very simple. Then it was no difficulty for me for getting Brahman initiation. So how many of you are interested, or if you have any question, because we are forming another group of Bhakti Shastri, and then based on interest of devotees, then we'll work with them. Regarding exams, I was thinking we can quickly do an overview of Gita and Nectar of Instruction before exams. That helps us to prepare. And more details will follow. But I want to see if devotees have some question, or if some devotees in this group are interested.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question Prabhuji. Since I'm not aware of this completely, I'm just asking this question Prabhuji. Are Matajis are also eligible for
Yes, it's for everyone. I mean, second initiation is when we receive Brahman, Diksha,
Right.
or we chant Gayatri from Sri Guru. And then we are allowed to do deity worship, cook in the temples, and do various services that we may not be able to do with first initiation. It's now, is Brahman initiation compulsory? Prabhupada said it will help us to like chanting Brahman Gayatri. We chant only when we receive from Guru, otherwise we don't chant. And it speedens up our process. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is self-sufficient to attain back to Godhead, but Brahman initiation speedens up, in simple words.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, then this Brahman initiation, as you said, as you mentioned, it is 2-year course. So is is it after the disciple course? I mean, is it like disciple course is a
Mandatory.
process?
It's not.
Ah.
It's not mandatory. They are two different courses.
Oh, okay,
Disciple
okay.
course is usually maybe 3 days course. It's a very simple course. But this Bhakti Shastri is like a long course because 4 books and there are assignments and there are exams. And then there is an official certification that will be available in any ISKCON temples across.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So is that Bhakti Shastri course only for this group, or we can check with other devotee also if interested?
Other means like our Bhakti Diksha?
No, in my mind it's Aarti Mataji, because their family comes regularly for Sunday feast. So her Prabhuji, he is not at all anytime exposed to any Bhakti
Yeah,
Diksha courses.
Well, Mataji, I'm
So-
thinking at this point of time only for those who are chanting 16 rounds, who have covered Bhagavad Gita and Nectar of Instruction for most part. So we won't be doing discussion on those 2 books. We will directly take the exams. NOD we are covering, and then Isopanishad will follow. So there is no plan to cover those 2 books again because we don't have a group of devotees at this point of time to start from beginning.
Got it. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Anybody in this group who are interested to do Bhakti Shastri?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danpat Pranam, Chandan here.
Chandan Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'm interested, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I am also interested, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, me too.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji.
Shweta Mataji, what did you say?
Prabhuji, like I was asking, is it an, are you asking like if we are ready for the exam, or is it the course? Like if it is the course, we are like we are in progress right now, correct?
Yeah. So if you're interested, then I will work with those who are interested to get the course done. And we will have a separate WhatsApp group where we'll add those devotees who are interested. And then based on where all they need help, what all they have studied, then I will work with them on finishing the course.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji, please count on me as well.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone?
Thank you.
Prabhuji, is it not mandatory to complete that ISKCON disciple course before this?
It's not mandatory, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Actually, Prabhuji, I'm still in process of completing Bhagavad Gita. I mean, I heard many lectures. I mean, reading also systematically from the beginning to the end. It's not done, so I'm still doing that. can I do this parallelly, Prabhuji?
Yeah, so what we'll do is, say whoever is in the course, then we will have something like, okay, let's take first 6 chapters and let's take the exam for that in next say a month or 2, and then we will do some maybe 2 or 3 overview session, and any question for 6 chapters all together. I'll give an overview and then any question answer, and then we'll have an exam. So it will not be very fast. We'll take our own time, but then whom to include, I'm looking for those names at this point of time.
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, another thing, I understood earlier that this course is mandatory. I mean, this course is actually related to preaching also closely. Like,
Yes,
I mean,
because
this
the
is
thing is,
prerequisite for.
it's different when we hear, it's different when we actually read, and when we write, because to write an exam, we will read more thoroughly. So that will make our own understanding much more completer. And you will see it will be much easier to share the knowledge because the concepts will become more crystal clear in our own consciousness.
I mean, Prabhuji, is there any mandate that we should preach once this course is done like that?
No, we can preach at all point of time. This will help us.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Are you interested?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, you can consider my name.
Padma Mataji
Padma.
also?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, I'm
Amol Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I will add you in. Is Mataji interested also or not at this point of time?
Yeah, at this point of time, she is not interested. So
We'll just add you. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. I heard you. Anybody else interested in this course? Shilata Mataji, Abhinav Prabhu, Mansi Mataji, what are your thoughts?
For me, I'm thinking of the time that I can spend. I'm interested, but don't know how much time I can give. So
To study and write the exam.
yeah,
Yeah, it's up to you, Mataji. If you want to wait, then whenever we do in the future, I can add you in that time. If you want to try, then we can add you and you try, and let's see how it goes. What is your desire?
I would like to go with it.
You want to try this time?
Try. Yeah, I want to try, but I cannot sure that I'll be able to
complete it all the way. And okay, we will add you in and see, Mataji, yeah, how it goes. We'll encourage you. Just be sincere and everything will go very smoothly.
Thank you. Sir.
Thank you, Mataji. Abhinav from Mansi Mataji, I know your microphone is not working. Would like to text me your desire? Okay, so we will include both of you. Anybody else I am missing who has not spoken? I think. Yatin Prabhu, should I include you?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. And I see 3 iPhones. I know one is Chandan Prabhu, I know one is Harshini Mataji. Will the third devotee interested? Okay. All right. So I guess then we can begin now. We are, I think, reading from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 8. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Okay. When a person attracted to the holy name once says the holy name, his previous sins are destroyed. So let's see our common duty. Okay, now just recap. The last thing we discussed was the duty of a householder and the duty of a person in renounced order, and we discussed different things. Then we saw how they both have one common duty, and that common duty is if you see a person who has completely taken shelter of Krishna, acts badly, you still say he is a saintly devotee. Such a person should be served by everyone, or one who does not find fault in devotees. He is a saintly man. Um, um, and something before that, we are discussing last 2 weeks, we discussed many seva aparats. And last week we began our discussion on Nam Aparad. And the first Nam Aparad we were discussing is Sadhu Ninda, or offending a devotee of the Lord. And that's where we saw that there are different devotees in different categories. They have their different duties, but one should not see fault in others. If one can live by that principle, he is considered saintly. Now we are moving further. When a person attracted to the holy name, one says the holy name, his previous sins are destroyed. The scent of his previous sins may still linger for some days, but by the power of the holy name, they too are gradually destroyed. In other words, if we do a sinful activity, if we chant the holy name of Krishna, the reaction for the sinful activity we performed will be nullified, but then the desire to perform that sinful activity may still be there. the desire may still be there, but by gradually chanting, even those desires are also um, um, they are gone from us. The scent of sin is quickly thrown away. Then that person becomes known as a great saint. During those days, when the scent of sin is not yet destroyed, to ordinary eyes, he may still seem to be a sinner. Seeing that scent of sin, someone may criticize that devotee. Seeing that he had previously sinned, someone may criticize his character. That critic is an offender because he blasphemed the devotee. He commits an offense to the holy name because Krishna is angry with him. He falls down. So, in summary, we may have some attachment to sinful activities, can be intoxication, can be illicit relationships, can be gambling or any other sinful activity. You improperly engaging our senses, we may have committed many sinful activities. But if we take the shelter of the holy name of Krishna, we don't have to suffer the reaction, although it may be like killing animals. Or I mean, there are so many kinds of sinful activities, but those who chant, they will not have to suffer the consequences of the sinful activities. But although we are chanting, our heart may not be purified yet. So we may still linger on to those desires of again committing violence, relationship, gambling. We may still have those desires. And at once in a while, there may be a possibility, like Prabhupada would say that because Maya is very strong. So once in a while, there may be a possibility that one may engage in a sinful act. There is a possibility. Then Lord Krishna says, still that person should not be or should be considered still saintly, even if he commits an abominable act, because he has taken the shelter of the holy name of Krishna. Once who takes shelter of Krishna, his reactions will go away, and whatever propensity he has, which once in a while may become very extreme and one may commit sinful activity, that propensity will also go away because the devotee is not leaving Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it is going to purify us no matter what our conditioning is. For us, how it applies, if somebody, like different people have different behavior. Some people may have a loose character. Some people may become angry very quickly. Some people may still have some bad habits of whatever, meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex, but they are practicing Krishna consciousness. Or they may do something which is questionable for a devotee's character. Maybe a lot of desire for wealth and greed and position and fame. So people are composed of different characters, and that is based on the conditioning of individuals. That is coming from how they have cultivated from previous, I mean, in this life, in the previous years and previous lives. So one may have many conditioning, and one may be accustomed to many things. He may try to give it up. He may still be unsuccessful some point of time. Those devotees should still be considered saintly because they are taking shelter of the holy name of Krishna, which is all powerful. Krishna will make sure that they cross over all the obstacles and become fully purified in due course of time. So that gives us no opportunity to criticize them for their current behavior if they're taking shelter of Krishna. That's the principle. Okay, I think any question? Clear? Basically supporting sadhu ninda, even if a sadhu has fault, visibly you saw it fault, does not give us a right to do ninda, no matter what the fault is. We should not criticize. And it is said if we criticize still, even though that person is a devotee, then Krishna takes an offense. Krishna says, this person is coming in my shelter. I am taking care of him. I will purify him. And when devotee does something wrong, they lament. Generally, they lament. And Krishna gives them some reaction also. Krishna also gives them some punishment. Krishna does whatever it takes to help that devotee grow. Like I was talking to recently one family, and one Mataji was mentioning that she was doing arati, and a thought came about somebody else, and she was a little bit disturbed by that person. And immediately the arti that she was offering fell from her hand. And she could feel it within her heart that actually Krishna was unhappy with her consciousness, with her thought process. So she was mentioning how Krishna immediately reciprocates when our consciousness becomes externally motivated, or like not something which is bhakti to Guru and Krishna. Then Krishna reciprocates. So Krishna has his own ways to train us. When we do something wrong, Krishna will give us a reaction. We will go through some suffering, and Krishna will make us realize, Prabhuji or Mataji, you are going through this suffering because of the sinful activity you did. Now become more sincere. Once in a while, if something happens, Krishna forgives also, because Krishna understands. But then if we misuse the opportunity given, that Krishna is very merciful, then Krishna will give us punishment also. Usually, if you see in a temple, Krishna carries a stick. One time there will be who asked me, sometimes when Krishna is playing the flute, like whatever, however, yeah, when Krishna is playing the flute, then his hand has a stick under him. Then he asked me, do you know why Krishna carries this stick? I said, maybe to support himself. He said, no, to beat you up. I said, okay, Prabhuji. He said, so that if you do anything wrong, Krishna will beat you with your stick. I said, okay, Prabhuji, thank you. That was helpful. So Krishna will punish us also. So Krishna takes the full charge of a devotee. Krishna will make sure the person comes out of all their bad habits and becomes pure. Then what is our right to interfere? That's the idea. So we have no choice or no right to criticize a sadhu, even if the sadhu is worth criticism, because Krishna will purify the devotee. Okay. So I hope that makes clear. That's the first offense, which is sadhu ninda. Now, the nature of a true saintly person. Someone who keeps the holy name of Lord Krishna in his mouth and who says, I am just a poor person who has taken shelter of Lord Krishna, is a true saintly person, is truly a saintly person. Someone who chants the name of Krishna in his mouth. Shweta Mataji, let's hear your question.
Prabhuji, you just gave an example, right? On Mataji, like she had she had a thought when she was giving the arti, but we like out of devotion, we come to the altar, come near Krishna, and we try to practice devotion sincerely, but the thoughts are uncontrollable. It's not under our control, right? Like
Yes.
most of the time, if I know that, Prabhuji, previously, before taking up the practice, like many thoughts come and we let it go like that only, and our ego will support that, yeah, you are right, whatever criticism
Right.
or whatever. Yeah. But now that it is not that it is completely eradicated, it is coming, but now that you know that is not important, and you are not going to please Krishna in that way. So at least that takes some time to, but the thought came and immediately Krishna gave a reaction. How to understand that, Prabhuji? Because even after that, at least for my sake, I'm asking, I'm not at that level. I can immediately correct something and make things happen right away. So what would be the solution in that case?
So we were having just a simple discussion. I asked this Mataji, how is your chanting? She said, Prabhuji, past 1 month, I'm not feeling much nourished in my chanting. So I was trying to go a little deeper. Okay, how is life? How are relationships? How is your mind? How various things are? And then something came up that she was little disturbed by action of someone. And she's very pure, great Vaishnavi, but somehow what she's going through was very, very much a difficult time. And she was mentioning that how she has herself experienced that whenever I have any thoughts about anybody, even if they're not devotees, I see that Krishna is unhappy. Krishna wants me to remain humble and be Krishna conscious, and take whatever is happening as Krishna's love. Because I was sharing her that how in the past I also went through a very difficult experience. I went to Vasana Maharaj, and Maharaj said that whatever association you have is Krishna's arrangement for you. And Krishna feels this is the best arrangement so that you can go to next level. So Krishna does put us through difficult tests, difficult times, but then, like my spiritual master says, every suffering has a seed of blessing, and we grow from those situations, because we don't grow from a very nice, peaceful situation. Through difficult situation, our own fallacies and shortcomings are exposed to us, and then that's where we get an opportunity to work on them. So I was sharing with her how you should be seeing this situation as Krishna's love, because Krishna is trying to help you out to grow and to go to next level and the next level and the next level. See that as Krishna's love, and try your best, because if mentally you are disturbed, although I understand there is absolutely no fault of yours. I know her very well, great Vaishnavi. I feel there's absolutely no fault of yours, but still, for devotees, Krishna's expectation is very high. He wants us to be to try to approach pure devotion. Like one of the quality of a pure devotee is adokshadarshi, or he doesn't see fault in anyone. Even though, I mean, it's a very difficult consciousness, but then at some point of time, we take some steps to go closer, go closer, go closer. And most of the time it comes through test. And that's where she was mentioning that she has experienced how whenever I think why this person is like this person is not doing good, um, then whenever any thought comes, she sees that the Lord is not happy, or she sees some signs. And I said, well, that is Krishna's way of communicating. And how do we know it's Krishna's way of communicating? How do we know it's not a chance, but it is Krishna? When something happens externally, like something fell down, because Krishna is sitting in our heart and Krishna reveals to us. Krishna tells us, see, this is not a good thought. And that is the Lord's love. So that's clearly a case where Krishna has put us in this situation and he wants us to work on it. Now, and that's true when the situation are very difficult. It's very, very difficult to control the mind. Then I asked her, okay, so are you taking shelter of Krishna? Are you praying to Krishna? To like one devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I control the mind? Prabhupada said, you cannot control the mind because mind is Krishna's energy. Krishna says, mind, intelligence, false ego are my energy. And then Prabhupada says, if you pray to Krishna, Krishna can control your mind, but you cannot, because we are insignificant jiva. We cannot deal with material energy, which is all powerful. Material energy is like, everyone is like consumed by material energy. So we cannot deal with that energy. But Krishna can do anything. He is Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes. So that's also an opportunity to take shelter of Krishna. And she was also mentioning through the phase that she went through, although it was a difficult time, how she has grown from that difficult time, how much that difficult time has helped her to develop more tolerance, greater humbleness, taking more shelter of Krishna. So there is a lot that comes, and mostly my Guru Maharaj says, most of the time, the realizations or the progress happens through hard time, most of the time. So we should see all these things as Krishna's love and work on our consciousness. If we are unable to, then try to take help from Krishna. And we should train ourselves to take help from Krishna in all circumstances. It can be as simple as like whatever the circumstances, we should take help from Krishna. Like if our child is, suppose, maybe like cranky, then Krishna, please help this child. or any service you have, Krishna, please help me do this service. Anybody, or if you have any anxiety, any fear, Krishna, please help in this situation. Somebody giving you trouble, Krishna, please help me how to deal with this situation. So we are training ourselves to take help of Krishna, and Krishna is waiting. Krishna is waiting for us to approach him. The moment we approach him, I am sure many of us have experienced that whenever we approach Krishna, Krishna always reciprocates. But the thing is, we will know when we approach Krishna if we are approaching Krishna in a state of helplessness, which is very important. When we truly feel that I cannot do it and I really need help, and we pray to Krishna, Krishna, please help it, and we truly feel within our heart, then help is 100% guaranteed. But when there is pride in the heart and we say, Krishna, please help me, but internally we feel, no, I can actually manage, but externally we are like, Krishna, please help me, then Krishna will also wait and we will be humbled, and that humbleness will increase our helplessness. Gradual suffering will increase our helplessness, and when we become completely helpless and reach out to Krishna, Krishna 100% reciprocates, guaranteed. Okay, Shweta Mataji, did I address some of the things?
So the answer would be like we have to offer pray to Krishna to come out of the mental thoughts also, right, Prabhuji? So that is the
That
only
is
way.
correct.
Because we cannot, yeah, of course, maybe it will run for a few seconds and then the thought comes and then we correct, like we have to see Krishna sitting in heart of every other living entity. So everybody have their own phase to undergo. So
Yes.
we can come to that point, but until that, like, yeah, of course, like as you mentioned, we have to offer our prayers.
Pray to Krishna to help us and pray in a helpless mood, and Krishna will certainly help us.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The state where we can see Krishna in the heart of all living entities is very advanced stage. It is mentioned at the platform Uttamadhikari. One can see Krishna everywhere. But at this stage, our minds are not very pure. We are not very capable of consuming all emotions without being disturbed. But when we take shelter of Krishna, Krishna helps us. Okay. All right. Nature of a true saintly person, someone who keeps the holy name of Lord Krishna in his mouth and who says, I am just a poor person who has taken shelter of Lord Krishna, is truly saintly. One of the quality, I was talking to Malati Prabhu, she is our GBC Prabhupada disciple, very exalted. And I was telling how this particular devotee has many symptoms of ecstasies and very nice devotee, but then there are some concerns I have. So I was just having it's a management talk, having some concerns, and she was mentioning, well, the one of the most important quality of saintliness is humbleness. We have to see if somebody is truly saintly by see if somebody is humble. So here it says, one who keeps the holy name of Krishna in his mouth, and then who says, I am just a poor man, or I don't have any mercy of Krishna. I'm very helpless because of my own conditioning, my own mind, my own attachments, my own desires, my own habits. I am trying, but somehow I'm not able to make any progress. I'm struggling. Only mercy can help me. So when somebody can think and remain in a humble state, that is truly saintly. Sanatan Goswami says, the most important devotional practice is that which always makes you remain humble. If you think, see, I'm this much advanced in my reading and I have a lot of absorption in my chanting, or whatever one may think, if anything makes us pride, then we lose our saintliness, and Krishna will humble us there actually. Okay, continuing. A person who keeps a straw between his teeth, who thinks of himself as a lowly person, who is tolerant like a tree, who does not strive to receive honor from others, who gives honor to everyone, and who keeps Lord Krishna's holy name in his mouth, has the power to make others fall in love with Krishna. So those of you who do have a desire to become an instrument to share Krishna consciousness with others, then here it is said a person who keeps a straw between his teeth means who remains humble, who thinks of himself as a lowly person. I am a very fallen soul, or I'm not a devotee. I'm trying to become one. I'm trying to become sincere, but I'm too far. So somehow or other, who remains lowly, um, who is tolerant like a tree, if some unforeseen circumstances, tolerate, don't become angry as much as possible. Any fulfilled, any desire unfulfilled, tolerate. Circumstances, tolerate. One who is tolerant like a tree, who does not strive to receive honor from others. This is a very, 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 very difficult. One who does not strive to receive honor from others, because generally one is very much motivated for like one's own image, one's own how one is perceived in the society. So this thing is very deeply ingrained in many times within us. So one who does not strive to receive honor from others. Many times we do many things, we speak many things, we behave in a certain way, or even we pray for certain things, and the motivation behind all of them may be just because we want to be respected in a Vaishnava society, or we want to be honored. So one who is free, or one who does not strive to receive honor from others, who give honor to everyone, who give respect to everyone. And respect is not given externally, respect is a matter of heart. When we bow down to somebody, it's actually because we want our subtle body to bow down. We want our ego, ahankar, to bow down to other devotees. And when even if we don't like somebody, if we still offer respect, bow down, give them respect, Krishna is pleased. So one who gives honor to everyone and who keeps Lord Krishna's holy name in his mouth has the power to make others fall in love with Lord Krishna. That's a sign of saintliness. If one has these qualities, one is saintly. Okay, this is nature of true saintly person: humbleness and following the practice of tolerance, not expecting respect and giving honor to others. Then Vaishnava glorification. A true Vaishnava is a spiritual master of the entire world. Anyone who criticizes such a Vaishnava falls into hell, for he stays birth after birth. This is nectar of devotion, many instructions. That if you criticize a true Vaishnava, then the response is very difficult. Do you see an elephant? It is called Hathi Mata. Hathi Mata means the elephant is considered as very powerful animal. If you leave an elephant open in a ground, the elephant can uproot the trees and elephant can destroy the whole ground. Elephant is very powerful. So we are trying to grow in our bhakti, and bhakti is compared to a bhakti lata, or a small seedling of bhakti, because our bhakti is not so strong. So we are trying to grow, but our bhakti is very weak. But if we let a mad elephant, which can uproot so many trees because so powerful, the elephant can easily trample upon our small sapling of bhakti. So one has to, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, one has to guard one's devotional service. One's bhakti one has to guard. And what one has to guard from? The mad elephant. And the mad elephant is compared to sadhu ninda, or criticizing a devotee. One should not do that. If for a few moments one stays near a Vaishnava, one will come into contact with Lord Krishna's power coming from that Vaishnava's body. The Vaishnavas are so powerful that if you come in contact with a Vaishnava physically, you can see that their goodness and their divinity will enter our heart. So we receive so much from Vaishnavas. In other words, naturally, Vaishnavas are the one who are bringing us closer to Krishna, who are giving us Krishna, or who has helped us so much in the past. Then naturally, one should be filled with gratitude, because if one feels that our life has transformed, then we will have gratitude for every Vaishnava who has helped us in our Krishna consciousness. So when Krishna sees that we are criticizing those same Vaishnavas, then naturally Krishna won't like it. Krishna will say, like, you should have gratitude. You are trying so much. You are sincere. Whatever you are made up of the mercy that is given to you by devotees. Now, how can you criticize, or how can you become envious now with the devotees who have given us and to whom we owe so much? So this lack of indebtedness, ingratitude, lack of gratitude is not very pleasing to Krishna. And I mean, the mind is naturally filled with many anarthas, and many times the thoughts may come. But if one don't act on it, and if one laments, like, how we should deal when our mind presents negative thoughts about others is immediately we should, even a thought comes, we should think like how fallen I am, how degraded I am, how wretched I am. How can I have such a thoughts for such great Vaishnavas? Why am so envious? Why am like this? And then one takes shelter of Krishna, and one should think like, I am so fallen. I am so unqualified. I have no mercy of Krishna. So one should think in these terms. Then at least we are, the anarthas are there, and we are helpless in front of our anarthas. But at least even after reacting in a not very proper way, at least we can lament. And that is also a sign of our sincerity that Krishna, I don't want these things. Krishna, I don't want to criticize a Vaishnava. Krishna, I don't want to think bad about a Vaishnava. Or another thing is, when we think bad about anyone, same bad will come to us. If you are envious of somebody, like especially it is said we should not be envious of somebody's spiritual progress, should not be envious. But if we are envious of somebody, then somebody will become envious of us. Because when we actually envy somebody or criticize somebody or find fault in somebody, we are actually giving them hard time in their consciousness. We are giving them hard time in their chanting. And the reaction comes back is somebody will have negative feeling for us, and we will also have to go through struggle. So when our absorption is not good, we should think, naturally somebody is unhappy with me because my mind was disturbed with somebody. And mind is very cranky, and sometimes, not all the time, maybe because of lack of rest, maybe because of previous conditioning. So this is something we have to come out of. This is something we have to pray. This is something we have to tolerate. And if we can keep the mind peaceful, like one devotee asked my spiritual master, Maharaj, how is it everybody loves you? And Maharaj said, because I don't find fault in anyone. So if we don't find fault in anyone, and accept them as they are, great, then our Krishna consciousness will also be very peaceful. Okay, so if for a few moments one stays near a Vaishnava, one will come into contact with Lord Krishna's power coming from the Vaishnava's body. That is how powerful the Vaishnavas are. They are giving us so much. Then how can we be so ungrateful and criticize them or find fault in them? And most of the time when envy is there, we find fault in others even though there is no fault in others. It's just our own conditioning is eager to, we have to take shelter of Krishna and take a humble position. That's the least we can do. Every spirit soul can attain devotional service by a Vaishnava's mercy. There is no other way to attain devotional service. We cannot attain Krishna directly. Like Yugal Kishore Prabhuji gives an example. He says, like Hershey's chocolate. I like that example. He says, if you want to buy Hershey's chocolate, you go to Gita Nagari. And like those who are in US, they know Pennsylvania, we have a farm, Gita Nagari, ISKCON temple. If you go on the way, there is a Hershey's chocolate warehouse, on the company where they make it and the warehouse. But you go to the company and you say, I need to buy the chocolate, they will say, go to my retailer. They don't give you directly. So you have to go to the retailer to get to get the chocolate. I remember in my childhood, like my father was trying to buy a scooter. So he would work in LML Vespa. So he thought he made a scooter specially for himself and he sent it to a retailer. Then he tracked where the scooter has come to which retailer, and he went to the retailer and he brought from the retailer, like the showroom, the shop. But if you go, even if you're working in LML Vespa, you cannot get a scooter from Vespa. Likewise, even though we are devotees of Krishna, we cannot get bhakti directly from Krishna. We have to get the bhakti from those who are authorized to give Krishna bhakti, and that is devotees. So when devotees have such a role, and we know at some point of time, whenever our bhakti begins, that's because somebody really helped us. Somebody spent so much time and energy with us. Somebody sacrificed so much for us. Somebody prayed so much for us. Somebody did somebody somebody did so much for us. Somebody like trained so much, tolerated us so much. So somebody has done so much for us, and that's why we are what we are able to do today. And then how pleasing it is to Krishna if in the return we envy devotees, we hate devotees, we criticize devotees, we find fault in devotees, when there is no such thing in them. They may be doing it purely for pleasing Krishna. How can we have such thoughts? How pleasing will it be to Guru and Krishna? Just think about it. And that's why, but because we cannot avoid, I mean, it can be devotees, it can be non-devotees. I'm specifically mentioning because the topic we are doing is sadhu ninda, is the principle of mad elephant offense or offending a devotee. That's I'm speaking from devotee's perspective. But any negative thought towards anybody is going to impact us. Every spirit soul has attained devotional service by a Vaishnava's mercy. There is no other way to attain devotional service. Lord Krishna's power rests in the body of such a Vaishnava. Simply by the touch of his body, others may attain devotional service. It is described that just the darshan of a Vaishnava, it is said, can free us from sinful tendencies. If we have some sinful habits, sinful thoughts, by seeing a Vaishnava, we feel ashamed. Oh, what kind of wretched soul I am. Oh, why do I have such desires? Like the darshan of a devotee is so purifying. So how can Krishna tolerate criticism of such Vaishnavas? You know? So Vaishnavas, in short, sadhus are great. Sadhus are humble. They are tolerant. They chant the holy name of Krishna. And they have helped us so much, or they may be spreading the mission somewhere else, wherever they are in. In any circumstances, we do not have Krishna pleasing to Guru and Krishna. If we find fault in such devotees, even if we do, Saraswati Thakur says, whatever fault you are seeing in others is because that fault exists in us. So if we see some fault in others, think about it. How this fault is in us, and it's always we realize when we see fault in devotees, we realize how the problem is in me. I have the desires, I have full of material desires, and my own material desires is the cause of my criticizing others. Okay. Lord Krishna will not forgive anyone who criticizes a true devotee, a Vaishnava in whose mouth the glories of the holy name stay. Somebody who is chanting the names of Krishna. Lord Krishna will not accept criticizing such a devotee. One devotee asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how can I quickly go back to Godhead? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, always chant the holy name of Krishna and don't criticize others. Because that really pollutes our consciousness. When you speak one bad word about somebody, and you will see your consciousness will be filled with negativity. You will start seeing it. You will start feeling heaviness in your heart. You know that my devotional credits, whatever I've attained, is kind of, I'm losing them. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, by speaking ill words about devotees, our bhakti shakti which we have in our heart, it goes out from our mouth. And then we feel empty. Then we feel like, what happened? Yesterday my chanting was so nice, and today I'm struggling so much, not able to focus. What happened? That's because we let go of our uh, bhakti shakti in the form of prajalpa or unwanted gossip talks. A Vaishnava level of advancement in spiritual life is determined by the extent of his attraction to holy name. So how do we know how much advanced we are? Prabhupada said chanting is our barometer. What is the purpose of barometer? You check what is the temperature. So what is our temperature of our bhakti? That depends upon how much absorption we have in the chanting. Now, chanting absorption should not be taken as instant, because so we may have a certain absorption in chanting, but because of some offense, we may lose temporarily the taste, but that's not where we lie. Once the effect of that offense is over, then we again come back. What is your normal state? Generally, your absorption, that much advanced we are. And we can see how I'm progressing if my taste or absorption in the holy name increases. And ultimately, we want our absorption to increase. Basic principle, whatever helps you to grow and absorb yourself in Krishna consciousness, do it. Whatever is unconducive, reject it. So Vaishnava level of advancement in spiritual life is determined by the extent of his attraction to the holy name, not based on what color cloths one wear. Is one saffron or is one white? Not based on how much fame one has, how much famous is this devotee on Facebook, how much famous or what position he holds in the temple, or how many years he has spent in Krishna consciousness, or how nicely he speaks, or how many melodies he knows on the kirtan. These are not the way to understand a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is understood by one's absorption in the holy name of Krishna. Chanting is our barometer. Okay, his Varna, ashram status, wealth, learning, youthfulness, handsome features, bodily strength, or host of followers have no bearing on this spiritual status. How many followers he has, that doesn't count one's advancement. You may have heard the story of a cobbler and a brahmana. Narad Muni was going, he met a brahmana. Brahmana asked Narad Muni, where are you going? I'm going to see Vishnu. So Brahmana said, oh, can you ask Vishnu when will I come back? Sure. Then Narad Muni went forward. He met a cobbler who was mochi, jute ko sil raha tha. Then the cobbler asked, oh, I am so fortunate. I have your darshan. Where are you going? Narad said, I'm going to Narayan. Oh, can you ask me when I will return back? Then, I mean, you all know the story. I'm just simplifying it. Then Narad Muni went, he asked, he came back. The Brahmana asked, so when will I go back? And Narad Muni said, well, Narayan said you will go back after millions of lifetimes. Then he approached the cobbler. Then cobbler asked Narad Muni, oh, did you meet the Lord of my life? When will I go back to him? He said, you're going back to him in this life. So one is a Brahmana with host of followers living in a temple, many disciples, give great talks, but then he, I think for whatever reason, he is going back after a million lives because he's not simple. His faith is not so strong. He's trying, but he has long way to go. But the cobbler, he has that simplicity, he has that faith, he has that devotion, he has that bhakti, and he's going to Narayan in this life. So what is one Varna ashram doesn't matter. Hey, I'm a Brahmana and you are only a Shudra. That's not the way we see a devotee. Or one's wealth, how much learned one is, how beautiful one looks, how youthful one is, how much strength he has in the body. Hey, this person does such nice service. Hey, this person does such nice service. He carries such, and he's constructing these many things. He has so much bodily strength, so he is a great devotee. No, or how many followers. So a Vaishnava level of advancement in spiritual life is determined by the extent of his attraction to holy name. That's how we have to see how much absorption this person has in the holy name. Therefore, a true devotee should avoid criticizing saintly devotees. He should be devoted to them. Association with saintly devotees and service to them are the activities of true religion. If we associate with saintly devotees and we render service to them, then we are truly saintly. Instead of criticizing them, envying them, judging them. So these are something that Rupa Goswami describes. Then this is very interesting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this: the Lord Haladini potency, pleasure. This is a little complex. The Lord's Haladini, pleasure potency, and Sandhini, knowledge potency, combined to become the Bhakti Shakti, potency of devotional service. A Vaishnava gives the aspiring devotee this Bhakti Shakti. In other words, what a Vaishnava, how the Vaishnava help us is they give us Bhakti Shakti. That's what we receive from devotees, Bhakti Shakti. And Bhakti Shakti is a mix of the pleasure one derives from practicing Krishna consciousness and the knowledge. They are technically called Haladini Shakti and Sandhini potency. Both these potencies lies within a Vaishnava. And basically a devotee has some absorption in the holy name. Through the Vaishnavas, we receive that absorption. Their absorption rub us and help us to become more absorbed. Their bhav is transferred to us. So that's how we get a pleasure potency. And then their understanding from bhakti perspective enter into our heart. And that's how we receive mercy or bhakti shakti from the devotee. Okay, now we go to the second offense. So first was summary Sadhu Ninda, and then we spoke a lot about Sadhu Ninda. Is there any discussion on Sadhu Ninda? Any questions on Sadhu Ninda? Okay, so we go to the second offense to the holy name, which is Devantare Swatantra Parad. To consider the names of demigods like Devan. Devan means demigods. Devantare Swatantra. Swatantra means independent. The demigods are independent of Krishna. Or how Prabhupada translates is to consider the name of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. They are not Swatantra. They are dependent on Lord Krishna. To consider them Swatantra is an aparad. Like we see that Lord Shiva, it is mentioned in Ramayana, he chants the name of Lord Ram. He is chanting on his beads. If you see Lord Shiva in his transcendental position, he carries Japamala in his hands. Parvati Devi asks, and he chants silently. Parvati Devi asks, dear Lord Shiva, my dear husband, what mantra do you chant? And he said, I chant the names of Lord Ram. And he says, if anybody chants one name of Lord Ram, he gets the same benefit as chanting 1000 names of Lord Vishnu. Then Parvati Devi said, can I also chant the names of Lord Ram? Can you initiate me? And then Lord Shiva gives her Diksha to Parvati, and she started chanting name of Lord Ram. Later on, Parvati Devi was initiated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in chanting the names of Krishna. Later on, this happens in Mayapur. She comes and prays. Then Mahaprabhu gives his darshan to her. And she says, I already received the name of Krishna. Actually, twice it happens, twice initiation. She said, I received the names of Krishna, Rama from my husband. Can I get the name of Krishna? Mahaprabhu gives. Another instance is where Maya Devi comes to dress Haridas Thakur in a form of a prostitute, and she tried to tempt Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was unbudged when Maya Devi gave her full potency, because Haridas Thakur was so absorbed in the holy name of Krishna that he was not touched by any material propensities. When Maya Devi took her original form as Durga or Parvati, and she requested Haridas Thakur, she said the same thing. Please initiate me. I want to initiation from you also. In the Krishna mantra, I tested you with my full potency and you were unaffected. And then Haridas Thakur initiates her in Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So to consider Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma as independent. We see how Indra was trying to be independent, he was punished. We see how Lord Shiva, tomorrow is Shivratri, we see how Lord Shiva has a desire to participate in Krishna's pastimes, and he protects the dham. That's why he's called Kshetrapal. Lord Krishna gave Lord Shiva the responsibility that no qualified person should enter my abode. And that's why all, like Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, all the holy places on all four sides, at the entrance of every forest in Vrindavan, first we take permission from Lord Shiva. Please give me entrance in terms of absorption into the Dham. So how there is a relationship between them. They are not independent. Brahma, he also made a mistake and he wanted to test Krishna, and how he was humble in front of Krishna and he offered various prayers to Krishna. And he himself comes from the navel of Krishna. He's a living entity. His father is Narayan, who is an incarnation of Krishna. So Prabhupada says to consider names of demigods like Shiva or Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. If someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is a great offense. So one should know that Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the Maha Mantra. No mantra can compare to Maha Mantra. In fact, all the mantras are within Maha Mantra. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 6th chapter, Putana Vadh, when Lord Krishna killed the Putana, there it is mentioned that any mantra that contains the word like Om or Namaha, Namo Namaha, Pranayami, or there are various words, Dhimahi. There are so many verses, like Gayatri Mantra has this word called Dhimahi. There are various mantras that have various words. Any mantra which contains those words, there are rules and regulations, it is said. One has to do Achaman before doing Gayatri Mantra or before chanting various other other mantras that has Om, Namo, Namaha, other words. But the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Niyamita Smarne Nakala. There is no time, there is no regulation, there is no niyam. One can chant at any point of time, in any circumstances, anywhere. Okay, so not considering them independent. And the third offense is Guru Avagya. Guru Avagya. Agya means their instructions or what they want us to do. Avagya means not taking their instructions seriously or to disobeying their instructions. That becomes Guru Avagya. Spiritual masters are of two kinds: the Diksha Guru, who gives initiation into the mantra, chanting of the mantra, and the Siksha Guru, who gives instruction about the relationship between Supreme Lord and the individual souls and about other spiritual topics. So we have Siksha Guru and we have Diksha Guru. One may accept only one Diksha Guru, however, one may accept many Siksha Gurus. Both kinds of Gurus should be honored equally. There is Siksha Guru and there is Diksha Guru. The purpose of Diksha Guru is he connects us to Parampara. He gives us a relationship. He gives us the Sambandha to Krishna, relationship to Krishna, relationship to Parampara. After initiation, our Gotra becomes Achyuta. We are connected to all our, like the disciplic succession. He gives us that connection. And Siksha Guru gives us the Abhidheya or the process. Generally, many times Diksha Guru and Siksha Guru are the same. In ISKCON, generally, all the devotees hear from the Diksha Gurus and they receive. So Diksha Guru is obviously a Siksha Guru also. But the Siksha Guru can be many. One can hear about the Abhidheya, or Abhidheya is the process, the steps that I need to take to attain perfection. One can receive the process, the knowledge about the process from many sources, from spiritual master, directly Diksha Guru, or like Prabhupada, we hear about how to progress in bhakti from Prabhupada, from various devotees who we are connected on YouTube. So we can have many Siksha Gurus who gives us Abhidheya, or one Diksha Guru who gives us connection. So Guru Avagya includes both Siksha and Diksha Guru. The purpose is to not disobey them. If they say something, then it is said that when they give us an instruction, the empowerment comes through the instruction. If one simply just tries to pray to Krishna, one will be empowered. In other words, Guru Avagya is it can be related to even temple authorities wherever you are serving, and under whoever you are serving. If they ask us to do something, try your best to do it, because Guru Avagya should not be seen as I will not say no to my spiritual master Diksha Guru, but I can say no to anyone else. Because the fact is that Diksha Guru, especially in ISKCON setting, Diksha Guru never asks us to do anything. We are always serving in our own local temples wherever we are, and most of you are like diverse across US and India, most of you. So you may have your own devotees, and disobeying their instruction also comes under Guru Avagya. And it is not that whatever they say we do it. It is not necessary, because some instruction may be very, very difficult, but at least we can keep them in confidence by saying, Prabhuji, these are the difficulty in doing this. What do you think? What do you prefer for me? And let them themselves say that, okay, let them themselves change the instruction. But receiving and saying, doing it and not doing it and displeasing devotees, then we become incriminated by Guru Avagya. It's not Sadhu Ninda, we are not criticizing them, but we upset them because they want us to do something and we don't do it. Or we do it half-heartedly and they are not pleased. And actually, when they are not pleased, then it will impact our japa. That's why it becomes a Nam Aparadh. Is Guru Avagya. Guru Avagya is very wide. Siksha Gurus, Diksha Guru, Siksha Gurus, temple authorities, our seniors, at all instance try not to do Avagya, like not to displease them. If you cannot, it's true that we cannot please everybody, then make up for it. Like communicate, probably this is difficult, I have been assigned this service here, whatever it takes, but try to at least keep devotees in confidence. Okay, that was something on Guru Avagya. Now, any question on Guru Avagya? Okay, so we covered 3 offenses. The 4th offense to the holy name is Shruti Shastra Ninda, is offending Shruti and Shruti Shastra. The material senses can perceive only what is made of matter, what is not material. The material senses have no power to perceive. Lord Krishna is spiritual, he is beyond matter. Therefore, Lord Krishna kindly gives us scriptures in order that the conditioned souls will attain auspiciousness. The word Amnaya here is used in Vrindavan Sampradaya to mean Vedas. Shruti Shastra Ninda. So some reflection on this. There are 2 kinds of scriptures. There is something called Shruti and there is something called Smriti. Shrutis are those which are spoken by the Lord, like the 4 Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is Shruti because it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself. Then Vedanta, Upanishads, they're all Shruti, coming directly from the Lord. Then many times the Puranas are Smriti, because they are meditated upon by pure devotees, like Vyasadeva wrote it. So they are Smriti, but within Puranas also there is Shruti, like 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam is Uddhav Gita, Krishna's instruction to Uddhav, that becomes Shruti. Or Shruti means directly spoken by the Lord, and Smriti means those which are reflections on what is spoken by the Lord, by pure devotees. They are Smriti. If somebody asks what is more important, Shruti or Smriti, there is no difference, because pure devotees are free from 4 defects. They are not conditioned souls. So whatever reflection they gave is as potent as Shruti. In fact, Srimad Bhagavatam says that they are sometimes even more potent because they add their own realizations and they leave the path before they go back to Godhead, and by following that path left by great souls, we can attain perfection. like it is described Mahajano Yanakata Sapanta, following the footsteps of previous acharyas. So that is many times more powerful also. But like Prabhupada at one point of time said, my purports are even more important than translation, because those who read only translation, they cannot understand, or at best they misunderstand, and they have their own conception. That's why we don't recommend devotees reading translation only. They should go with translation and purport. That's how they will really understand. So we don't see difference between Shruti and Smriti. We discussed about what is Shruti and what is Smriti. They both together are called the Vedic literatures. Ninda means criticizing, and the reason we criticize is because we are on a material platform and we cannot see things as they are. We cannot see the spiritual substance of something. Just for example, there is a verse that we sing while eating, before we eat prasad. We sing Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Swalpa Punnavitam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate, which what it basically means is faith in the deities of the Lord, faith in the remnants of the food left by them, faith in the devotees, faith in the holy name does not arise in those people who have very little piety. Swalpa punya, O Rajan, O king, those whose punya or piety or bhakti credits are swalpa, are very little, vishwas naiva jayate, the faith vishwas jayate does not arise. Like we use Jayanti. Jayanti means appearance. This his Jayanti or her Jayanti. So Jayanti means to arise, to come, to enter. So Vishwas Nai Vijayate does not arise. Faith in Mahaprasad, Govinda, Naam, holy name, Brahman, and Vaishnavas. If our punya is swalpa, so which basically, like one person I met and he said, I'm not able to relate to deities. I mean, he's a Westerner. It's natural. It's not in his culture. But then, like, it's very difficult for him to understand deities and how the deities are Krishna. So scripture says, but we say, but after scripture says, and we say, yeah, I don't believe deities is Krishna. I think he's just a piece of stone. Then it becomes a sadhu ninda. And the reason that ninda is coming is because we bring our conception and we reject the scriptures. And that is because we are materially absorbed. Or this food, who know this is eaten by Krishna or not? This is just, I mean, it's a ritual. It's okay to do it, but there is no difference. Now it becomes sadhu ninda. Now you do that ninda, and then you chant the holy name, and you will have difficulty in chanting the holy name. Or you see deities as stone, and then you chant, you will have difficulty because there is sadhu ninda, or there is shastra ninda. Sadhu ninda, shastra ninda is different. So shastra ninda, or no faith in Vaishnavas. So what? They are also materialistic people. Or no faith in name. I mean, this is good vibration, but I don't think this name can send me back to Godhead. I don't think this name can purify me thoroughly internally and make me pure devotee. I don't think name has that potency. Then becomes Shastra Ninda. Because Shastra says, like Kali Shantran Upanishad, this is Shruti Shastra. Kali Shantran Upanishad. It says, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Sodakshanam Nam Nam Kali Kalmashunashanam Natta Parantara Payo Sarva Vidishuddhishate. Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. So it says, Iti Shodakshanam Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam. It says these 60 names of Hare Krishna, in this Mahamantra, these names can destroy all the kalmash, all the impurities from our heart. But then if we feel like, no, how can just chanting purify me completely and thoroughly and make me pure devotee, then becomes Shastra Ninda. So it is very expensive. In other words, anything scripture says, that's why Srimad Bhagavatam says one should hear Srimad Bhagavatam attentively and submissively. Submissively means if scripture says something, accept it. Attentively means try to be attentive while hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And with a submissive mood, not in a challenging mood. If we say, I don't believe, then it's not submissive. Then it's like I'm judging the scripture based on my experience. But what is our experience? It is full of material experiences. So how can we say no to scriptures? That's like we have faith in our own conditioning in three modes over the scriptures which are transcendental. So submissive listening is how we avoid Shastra Ninda. And it is said that if we have done Shastra Ninda, and how frequently we do Shastra Ninda, it's beyond imagination. But submissive listening, submissive hearing, submissive reading, Srimad Bhagavatam helps us to overcome the Shastra Ninda. Okay, this is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, in the 10 root teachings of the Vedas, it is said that Vedas have 10 main teachings. Anybody who does not accept these 10 teachings, which are coming from the scriptures, is considered offensive to Shastra. So this is submissive hearing means one should accept the 10 conclusions from the Vedas. And they are as follows. In the 10 root teachings of the Vedas, root means the entire Vedic teachings come from those 10 teachings. In the 10 root teachings of the Vedas, the first teaching is the truth that the Vedas are the only true source of knowledge. People are not the source of knowledge. The Shastra is the source of knowledge. If people repeat Shastra, then they become the source of knowledge. If even if Guru and scripture, the Praman is scripture. If Guru says something against scripture, then against scripture is presented. So Vedas are the true source of knowledge. The other root teachings are the 9 teachings also mentioned here. Those 9 teachings are first 10 root teachings of the Vedas. When we reject them, we commit an offense of Shastra Ninda. The first among those 10 teachings is Vedas are the source of knowledge, are the true source of knowledge. Okay, Lord Krishna is the only supreme truth. His form is dark and handsome. He is the master of all potency. See if you accept all these things with faith. If no, then let us try to submissively hear, inquire, but inquire from scriptures, and if scripture says something, accept it, because we don't know. If we have heard from somebody something else, we don't know how true they are. But the Vedas are the true source of knowledge. We submissively hear knowledge from the Vedas, we practice it, and you will see the benefit yourself, and you will develop faith by your own experiences. His form is dark and handsome, and he is the master of all potencies. His dark and handsome form is filled with the sweetest nectar. The numberless individual souls are spiritual atomic particles. They are separated parts and parcels within names of Lord Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Quality wise, we are same as Krishna because we are also Satchitananda Vigraha. But then he is infinite and we are infinitesimal. We are very, very small. The individual souls who have turned their faces from Krishna are imprisoned by Maya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, because of the covering of Maya, we cannot see the truth. We cannot see Lord Krishna. We cannot see the abode of the Lord. Because of this covering, it's like a cloud that covers the sun. When there's cloud above, we cannot see the sun. Likewise, when we are covered by the cloud of Maya, we cannot see Krishna. We cannot see the source. Pure devotees are liberated, free from Maya's prison. Pure devotees are beyond the influence of Maya's 3 modes. The individual spirit souls and the inert word of matter manifested by the Lord's inconceivable potencies are eternally one and different from the Lord. The living entities are one and different from the Lord. And we discussed, because they are part and parcel, they are one in quality and different in quantity. Abhideya means the 9 kinds of activities in devotional service to Lord Krishna. Abhideya means the process. Okay, I'm a spirit soul. At some point of time, or I have a relationship with Krishna, I have forgotten. Now I am absorbed in a material way. I identify myself as a son, a daughter, a brother, a sister, a husband, a wife, or etc. And engineer, a doctor, a profession, a male or a female, and I identify myself, but I'm none of these things. They are all temporary designations that I carry. As soon as the soul leaves the body, all these things that are connected to the body are gone. So who am I? My real identity is Jivara Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. I am eternally a servant of Krishna, but I've forgotten him because I am covered by the illusory energy. So how do I regain my original position? How do I reinstate myself? And then what process I need to follow to realize myself? What are the steps to be taken for self-realization? And that is called abhidaya. What are the process? What do I do practically today to realize my eternal true position? And that is described as the 9 kinds of devotional service, which is hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, remembering Krishna, serving the lotus feet of Krishna, um, um, offering prayers to Krishna, worshipping the deities of Krishna. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is like, yeah, so there are 9. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, prayers, Dasyam, acting as a servant of Krishna, Sakyam, asking Krishna for any help. Krishna, I'm stuck here. Krishna, this is the trouble. Krishna, my mind is uncontrolled. Krishna, please help, help, help. Because you approach to those friends when you are in, when there is a saying, a help in need, a friend, a help in need, or whatever, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Or in other words, when you are in need and you approach somebody and they help you, then they are really your true friends. And Krishna is our true friend, because anytime you helplessly approach Krishna, Krishna, please help me with whatever it is. Krishna, please help me, and Krishna will be there. So that is called acting as a friend of Krishna. Considering Krishna is my friend, he is here to help me. He will uplift me. He will help me with my problems here, and he will help me to progress also. And Atma Nivedam, sending everything on to Krishna, and one who follows this 9 process of devotional service, that is the Abhidaya. And pure love for Krishna is a true need, the true goal of life for the individual spirit souls. The true goal of life is prema, Krishna prema. That is the goal of life. So one who accepts this from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, anybody who does not accept these 10 truths of the Vedas becomes incriminated by Shastra Ninda. Okay, and then there is okay, so I would like to stop here and see if there are any discussion. I saw it's 11:30 already. Any discussion? Questions?
Prabhuji, one question, Prabhuji.
Srinivas, बताइए.
Yeah, regarding Sadhu Ninda,
Sadhu
if
Ninda?
by yeah,
Mhm.
so by mistake, if we gossip something negative about a devotee, in that case, how do we, what should be done to reduce the
Effect.
impact?
Yeah. If it is Sadhu Ninda, it's good to limit. And if we have given a negative impression about a devotee to somebody, then we can be humble and we can say, Prabhu, I should not have said that. It was a slip of my tongue. Or something we can rectify. But I mean, time, place, circumstances. But somehow, these are the 2 ways I can think how we can rectify.
I mean, Prabhuji, even though we don't say outward, but sometimes within our mind also we think those things. In those cases, Prabhu.
Yeah, in those cases, we should pray to Krishna. We should think, how can I think of this devotee in this way, or why do I have such thoughts? My mind is so disturbed. And then there can be a healthy fear, which is because I'm finding fault in a sadhu. I will go through the reaction. Somebody will find fault in me, and I will go through my own struggles. This is a cause of my own suffering. This mind, Krishna, please help me. I don't want to think in this way. And in that way, we take shelter of Krishna to help us overcome those thoughts, because by our own, it will be very difficult to overcome, because the mind is Krishna's energy and Maya is very strong. So approach Krishna for that. Did I answer, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
But
Krishna Prabhuji.
Deva Hemangi Devi, just one, I just want to reinstate this point. It is very important to think ourselves as how can I have these thoughts? Um, um, I am so degraded, I'm not able to make any progress. These thoughts are conducive. Self-condemnation. So basically, we are training our mind. Mind says this, and we are condemning our own mind. That acts that is helpful. So mind, we are not giving chance to the mind. That we are not encouraging the mind to keep doing these kind of things over and over. Okay, Deva Hemangi Devi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just have like one like kind of follow-up question with that. So Prabhuji, like sometimes last class we discussed about only if you are in management level or like that in the congregation and stuff, then you can like not point out, but you can correct the devotees, right, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yes. So probably sometimes like may happen like even if there is something, say it might be not like wrong for the management, but it might be wrong for like me, like not wrong, but not appropriate, we can say. So what we can do in that case too? Like from the devotees, like it's like everyone has different way of and perspectives, right?
Yes.
So that's what like in that case what we can do.
It's very, very sensitive, Mataji. That's why it's very dangerous to be in management. But that does not mean that we should not be in management. Whatever service is needed, we must do. But it is very, very risky because in the name of management, sometimes if we have some, say, not very positive feeling about a devotee, then our personal motivation can mix with what is good for the temple. And to the extent there is a personal motivation that is kind of like, there is a ego voice and there is a what is good for the temple aspect. To the extent there is an ego voice because I am hurt, I don't want this person, that much effect we will have on our consciousness. If it is purely done for the sake of good for the devotees and temple, there will be absolutely no reaction. So that is individual choice we have. Does that answer?
Yes, brother. I have just one more question to you. So sometimes we say we listen to the Vedas, like say for example, while doing some chores like house chores, we keep on like hearing, like not attentively, because we say out of 1 hour lecture, like I'm talking about myself, I can grasp only like say I can remember like for 1 hour lecture I can remember say 5 points. So rest everything, like I couldn't remember anything because I was not so attentive, not even attentive at all. So is that like a kind of like sin, or like as we are doing unattentive hearing, we may be submissive, but we are not attentive at that time.
Yeah, that is natural. I mean, I also hear and something strikes and something just goes away and the mind sometimes goes here and there. So that's not something we are purposefully trying to be inattentive. That's just that's the nature of the mind. It is chanchal. And Krishna says, whenever you realize, bring it back under the control of the self. Just like chanting, we chant, mind goes away, it becomes inattentive, we bring it back. Likewise, hearing, it goes away, bring it back. Is inattentive chanting and offensive chanting? Yes. Is inattentive hearing and offensive hearing? Yes. Can we help it? The only thing we can do is bring it back under the control of the self. And as the mind becomes more and more pure, our focus becomes more and more, our hearing and chanting will become more and more attentive, and it's just a period of time. And we just, I mean, this is the best we can do. It's natural. Did I answer?
Yes, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji, I have one more question last.
Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, so, while chanting, our mind is focused for say few minutes. And like for me, I close my eyes and I try to chant it little louder. So like I try to focus my senses on chanting only. So, but as soon as I say, for example, we open our eyes and we think about, some like sense gratification, not like sense gratification, but like,
Yeah, eating
material
something
things.
nice or cooking
Yeah.
something nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens. So that's kind of aparad, right? Because so I have heard that question like when we are like when I open my eyes and I think of like okay, I am trying to cook something nice for my deities, or I'm trying to like to serve the devotees or something. So how does that so is that like kind of so does it comes under namaprad or like I had that question too.
Okay, thank you. Now, it does come under Namaprad. Comes under inattentive chanting. Inattention is of three type. One of the inattention is distraction, which is called Vikshepa by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. One of the inattention is laziness, where we chant and before finishing one round, we feel sleepy, we take rest. That's a kind of inattention, laziness. And there is another kind of inattention, which is anyone remembers? There is Vikshepa, there is Jadia, and then there is one more. Anyone remembers? Third kind of inattention. Yeah. Indifference. Indifference means I have to chant. Yeah, I will chant. Somehow or other I will finish it. Indifference means it's not our priority. Indifference means just do it for the sake of doing it, but we're not much interested in it. So these are three kinds of Bhaktivinoda Thakur says inattentive, and the last one says it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting, and it is said that inattention in chanting is the cause of all the other offenses. When the chanting inattentive, that becomes the cause of Shastra Ninda, Sadhu Ninda, Guru Avagya. All these offenses arises from inattentive chanting, and these are three kinds of inattentive chanting. Now, can we become fully attentive tomorrow? No. Can we become free from offenses tomorrow? No. But we are trying, Mataji. All we can do is trying to be sincere. It's a gradual process. Gradually, we overcome. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if you're indifferent to chanting, then he says chanting in association of devotees help. Because when we see around devotees are very sincere, then I feel like, oh, I should not take chanting so like indifferently. Like I should be sincere. I should also do it. And if it is Jadiya, then or laziness in the spiritual life, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says association with those who are constantly engaged in serving Krishna will remove the laziness in chanting or laziness in devotional service, because they're working so hard, I should also do something. That association of those constantly engaged in Krishna service will help overcome laziness. Chanting in association of devotees will help overcome indifference to chanting. And Vikshepa, general distraction. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says general distraction arises because of maybe previous desires, past desires, or conditioning, or desire for honor, position, wealth, attraction to material objects, asatrishna. So these are various causes because of which distraction may arise. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that requires determination. It's because of lack of determination that these things comes, and then we may give on to them. And he says that we can develop determination by fasting, observing the festivals, fasting on Ekadashis, So these are some of the solutions Dr. Thakur describes. But is it an offensive chanting? Yes. Can we overcome tomorrow? No. But we are working on it. All we can do is just try to be sincere. Did that answer, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Deva Hemangi Devi. Is there anything else anyone has?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So,
Ashini Mata.
Nandini Sundari Mataji and Tata Bhavini Mataji, they joined late. So, can you just share that announcement which you have been starting?
Oh,
Hare
yes.
Krishna.
So we are starting a different WhatsApp group where we will have all those devotees who are interested in Bhakti Shastri. Some who may not be interested, will not add them to the group. We discuss how this course is mandatory for Brahman initiation. We will not be going through Bhagavad Gita and the books that you have already read, but rather I will just give an overview and maybe a month's time, and then we directly give exams. Those who have gone through Bhagavad Gita, or if you have read Bhagavad Gita by your own, or if you have heard it from any devotees, it's good enough. We will work towards the completion of Bhakti Shastri course. We are right now doing Nectar of Devotion. Ishopanishad we will do. Nectar of Instruction we have covered, but those who have not heard, I can cover that particular topic because it's easy to cover Nectar of Instruction. It takes a lot of time to cover the entire Gita. So we were taking names earlier before some devotees joined. If they are interested in Bhakti Shastri course, completing it. The advantage of Bhakti Shastri course other than Brahman initiation is it really helps in solidifying our own concepts and gives a strong foundation for sharing Krishna consciousness with others. So if anybody of you would like to be part of Bhakti Shastri, then we were taking names.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Mata
Prabhuji,
Janvi.
I am interested for the Bhakti Shastri. Prabhuji, add my name, Prabhuji, please.
Yeah.
I want to really interested, Prabhuji. You take me your shelter and I can go back to Godhead and more Bhakti. Yes, Prabhuji. I want to, Prabhuji. Can you add my name?
Yeah, you are there in my head. And then
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I would love to be the part of the Bhakti Shastri course. This is Nandini
Nandini
Sundari
Sundari
Devudasi.
Devi. Yeah, we will add you
Thank you
also.
so much.
And then we will coordinate with some of you individually on what all you have read and what needs to be done. Maybe just some overview and then exams. We will work on the follow-up later on. Okay, and I think Anant Giridhari Prabhu, you and your family are interested.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay. You are in my mind. Radha Bhavani Devi also she's in my mind. Is anybody else interested in this course? I know Deva Himangi Devi already completed the course. Mataji, congratulations. Anybody else who is interested in this course?
Yes, Prabhuji, I just finished, we just finished it.
Yeah, that's very
in January.
Best is like before initiation or only finish, so that as soon as Guru Maharaj comes, take Brahman initiation. That's the design. Very nice.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Welcome, Mataji.
Prabhuji, will there be a different timing? Today, did we start a little early?
Oh, Prabhuji, actually, we will start every week 10 a.m. But then I had to attend a training. So we moved it to 11, but we again moved it to 10.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you. Because I also joined late, Prabhuji.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, please join an hour early. Yeah. Is that okay with you?
Yes,
All
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Even I am late
Prabhuji,
to Prabhuji today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just miscommunicated.
No, Prabhuji. The messages were little confusing because the Zoom meeting, it said 11
11,
PST.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, please hear this recording. We discussed upon Sadhu Ninda today, and yeah, basically we are just covering the 10 offenses to the holy name in this session. And yeah, Uh,
Probably one more question. Is there a link for the recording?
yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, like all of them in YouTube Prabhuji, like Prabhuji is keeping, like I will share in this group, like Prabhuji, like please guide me, like in case like whoever is not there here in this group, so we can add here to get messages. I thought like Harshini Mataji added, so like some people like to get some coordination from Mataji, but I'm not aware of that.
Yeah. Sukumari Radha Mataji, I know the devotees. I will talk with you and give you their contacts.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji. So yeah, YouTube link, like usually like whoever requests, like we do paste in that group, Prabhuji, like whoever missed the session. So like same link, all of the Nectar of Devotion sessions are there from first session to till today, like today's session maybe either today or tomorrow is going to be added there, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Is anybody else interested in Bhakti Shastri course? Okay. So we took most of the names before. So we will create a WhatsApp group and we'll go from there. Okay. So if everyone's permission is there, then we can end here. Thank you all so much for joining. My obeisances to all of you. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anandapuri Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.